Happy Friday everyone, and welcome back to the envelope lettering tutorial. Because I had a little bit of technical difficulty with the video yesterday for the shadowing technique, I'm actually just going to start where we left off, and this video will combine both the shadowing technique and the illustrations at the end. For the materials today, at the beginning of the tutorial, I did show a red marker, but in order for the colors to pop a little bit more on camera, I'm going to actually be using a red gel pen and a green gel pen for the shadowing. If you have a gel pen or just two colored pens or colored pencils, that should suffice. And then we're also going to be using our white gel pen as well. So these three pens. Okay, so when you are thinking about shadows, in order for it to look consistent, you want to make sure all the shadows are to one side. This actually acts as something that naturally happens when you have a light source, the shadow cast in the opposite direction. For example, if you see my pen here, the light source is from the top left, and so the shadow is being cast on the opposite side. And that's just exactly how you're going to be drawing your lines in, so that it looks most natural. I'm going to bypass the recipient's name with the red color because I'm going to have that pop out a little bit more in green. So I'll come back to that. We'll go ahead and start off with the address. And for consistency's sake, I'm just going to keep the shadowing to the thick areas of the letter. When you shadow the thinner parts, it sometimes gets messy looking. So just to keep everything nice and clean and legible for the video. You see, I'm just going in. I'm always thinking about the light coming from the opposite side. So I'm thinking about where it will touch. Most of the shadow isn't going to go all the way up to the top of a shape. It's going to start off to the side. And so this pops, but it's also not super contrasty. Contrasty? I don't even know if that's a word. I made that up. But I wanted something a little more subtle originally when I was thinking of the design. So this just creates sort of a 3D effect and makes it look like the letters are popping off the page a little bit, which adds a nice little element. Like I said, I'm not really going underneath at all. I'm just acting as if the shadow is sort of just coming in from the left-hand side. There are times where I might make an exception, like the crossbar on the A. Or the underside of this F. And you see I don't go all the way up. I kind of end it where the shadow would naturally end. And I don't bring it all the way to the bottom. The trickier ways of adding shadow, there's different styles. This is just a nice sort of almost pinstriping effect. But you can use little slashed lines or dotted lines to make your shadow. You can extend your shadow out. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in the lettering class. So the lettering class isn't strictly about envelopes. We're just using that as our medium to practice on. But you'll learn lettering skills that can be applied to stationery, that can be applied to signs. So really, it's just a theme in the class, but you can use your information 1,000 different ways after the class, which is nice. So we've got all of our red shadowing laid down. And if I can sort of pan closer, you can see where it sort of pops out. And if you, don't worry if you end up overlapping on some of your letters, wait for that ink to dry and you can go back over those parts that you've accidentally gone too much back with the white. So it's pretty forgiving. Readjust. All right, and we're going to place a paper over that so my hand doesn't smear, because it's probably not completely dry yet. And we're going to just go with the green, and you'll be able to see the green a lot better. So if you want a bold shadow or contrasting color, the green is really, really nice. And I'm just doing that same technique. My light is coming from the same place. And if you realize there are little elements that you needed to add, like to color in little serifs. All right. So we have our shadows in place, and I'll actually show you one more technique with the letters in just a moment after we add our little illustration. So what I've gone ahead and done, actually let me erase it so I can show you the doodle. What I've gone and done is to fill in some of this white space in the corners and balance everything out. I've drawn just some holly leaves, and holly leaves are really simple. It's just 3 little circles. I'll draw it darker so you can see it on camera. And then the leaves, what I'll do first is I'll sort of draw out my placement of the 3 leaves. And then, so I've got like a little 1, 2, I've got like a little oval shape that I've drawn here. And within that oval shape, I'm just going to draw lines inside and scallop them to the top. So scallop, 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 scallop. You can erase the outer edge there. And you have the shape of your holly leaf. Scallop, scallop, scallop. And then you have your holly leaf. And then that's it. So you just add it on the other side, and then you trace over it with your pens. Now that I'm doing this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have pressure from my whole family to make sure that they get a fun illustrated envelope at Christmas. So I'm just filling in the holly leaves with the red. You can add a little shine. And for that shine, just put it where the light source is coming from for your letters. Voila. So let me color the other side. Hopefully my hand won't get in the way too much. Scallop, scallop, scallop. Scallop, scallop, scallop. That dry a moment, and while that's drying I will show you my last little technique. If you wanted to incorporate more of the green and have some more fun with it, you can add some detail in the middle on the thick parts of your letters. On the thicker parts of your letters. I would say if you're going to do this, limit it to one part of your thick, like one thick area only, so that it just doesn't get too busy. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to add just some dots. Kind of like little festive accents. And you see how I'm leaving some of this blank, some of my thick parts blank, just because otherwise it will get really busy looking. And you want to keep it nice and clean. So you can add little details like that as well. Let's see. The light. Correct some of the overlap. You can add even more detail if you wanted. like little squiggles. And there you have it. There's your finished lettering project. I hope that this has been informational. I hope this has been easy to follow along with. If you'd like, just let me know by commenting if there was anything else that you want more detail into or had trouble following along with. I'm happy to answer questions. And if you want some in-person troubleshooting, again, my class is going to be November 29th at Bellevue, Wilmington on 20 Princess Street. I'll leave the link in the along with the video so that you can sign up. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks again for following along.